live.
Alright, so we're going to do a Article 1 on delete.
And, yep, the fence board in that language, how it looks like it takes care of it. Pardon me? Yeah, or in, do it in the upper left or in the middle if you want. But you're a man of rules.
You want to do 2 ordinance?
No, we just need, we'll do 2 if you want.
No, it's whatever you want.
So let's go ahead.
I think last time we did 2 ordinance, didn't we?
I don't remember.
Yeah, yeah.
So just go ahead.
Before we open up with our proposals.
Wait, let me sign that. I can't listen and sign. I'm people.
I need the current policy on the random drug testing situation at the jail. I received a call from someone last week, and they basically told me they were made to get almost naked while giving the urine sample. They said that was out of the ordinary. And I said I would relay the concerns to the table and would ask for the policy.
Well, here's what happened. They went to the lab, the temperature was off. You know that under like the CDL, the temperature and stuff's off. The MRO came back and said they need to be watched because we think they've got a
Temperature of the
that,
urine? Okay.
that's what happened. The lab did that. And they said they need to be watched. So they have to do the temperature was off.
Is this a policy or is this something the lab does?
The lab, and I know it's required, I know under the CDL, it's required under the law under CDL. It's required that if you have a temperature off, they require you to go back and be observed. It's called an observed specimen, and they do that.
Reserve specimen?
Yeah, they make them go back and do another specimen, because the specimen is, the temperature's off.
You were notified of this?
Well, they called and told me, and I said, that's fine, the lab says that the temperature's off, and they're gonna do a, watch them, that's the only time they watch them, if the temperature's off. Then they make them do an observed collection.
Well, thank you for the explanation. And Chief Flowers, if I could get a copy of that, so the random drug testing thing. Thank you.
Yeah, the thing about that is the employee felt, it was she or she felt particularly uncomfortable by the way it was done. Maybe a little bit more.
I thought the lab would probably explain that to her.
I would hope.
They should explain that to her. The lab should explain that to her, that, your MRO says you need to, come back and redo another sample, be observed, because the last one was, temperature was off.
Oh, we got that part, but I guess
She should have been told that.
Bedside manner.
Yeah. Yeah, it should
That
have.
wasn't the corrections division, though, that did that.
No.
I mean, the only thing I was told is have a supervisor escort that individual over, and we were out of it at that point.
Right, it's somebody we have a contract with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the lab.
So anyway, that might be something to communicate to them.
Well, I've only had 1 or 2 of those in the last 6 or 7 years. I've had some CDL folks do it, some gentlemen. I've never had a woman. I didn't know who this was, by the way. I didn't know man or woman. I've had some gentlemen that's happened before. And one of them, CDL, it required it for a year after that. And I had one gentleman who was furious that he had to do it every time for a year, and that was required under the CDL requirement of the law. We didn't have anything to do with that. He said, hey, you go get the Department of Labor, and you'll get that straightened out. We'll be glad not to have you do that.
All right, the first proposal, additional proposal, is personnel records. And I don't know if we gave you a proposal earlier on this, or you gave us one on this, but this one has some revisions.
You gave us a proposal, we gave you a counter.
Right, so we have another proposal.
Okay.
And, personnel records. Oh, shoot. I don't have- Just to clarify, a couple of, we were talking about some language, and I thought it would be better to stick it in the personnel records. And we're addressing two issues here. The first one, and it's in the first two paragraphs, involves the definition of a personnel file. And sometimes supervisors have a bad habit of maintaining records about their employees on a laptop, in a drawer, separate and apart from the official personnel records. So we want, when an employee asks to see my personnel file, so to speak, we want to be able to see everything that is being maintained about that particular employee that might be used adversely against them or in a positive way, just so it is there. And this really benefits both of us. Because if somebody makes a Public Records Act request for somebody's personnel file and there's a pseudo file existing somewhere else, that could create some problems. The next issue in our personnel records proposal is in paragraph 3, and that is primarily the language that we've added to the bottom of paragraph 3 to avoid the occasional problem of people, supervisors, managers, being rambunctious with talking to the media or third parties about investigations that may be going on. Now, what I mean by that is, no doubt that if a Public Records Act request is out there, it's out there and the county has to comply with it. But sometimes managers initiate contact with the media, let's say. So this is designed to create a device by which these folks, these managers, could be counseled saying, hey, you don't go out of your way to establish relationships with the media and say, hey, I've got a hot tip for you. Because as you might know, the media likes to establish relationships with people and say, you got anything for me this week? We don't want that if there's relation or in relation to pending investigations. We like to keep those things in-house until the investigation comes to fruition.
So is this above and beyond the requirements of the law enforcement correctional officers and bill of rights?
Yes.
So what's the remedy?
Well, the remedy is if you violated the contract, a grievance could be filed, and the arbitrator will issue whatever remedy he or she feels is
So
appropriate.
what is your members doing? Because they're the ones normally 99.9 that contact the media. So do we go after them?
No, you don't.
Oh, so it's one-sided.
Well, are you acknowledging there's a problem?
No, I'm saying you're moving.
Let's talk about
But
that.
there must be a problem because.
Because you're raising it.
This is the most important article. This is the third time we're talking. We haven't talked wages, but we're talking personnel files.
Well,
This is apparently
I
the
mean,
You
most
want to talk
important
about
thing.
wages?
I may agree
What's
with
your
you.
proposal?
Give me a
What is your proposal?
Give me a proposal. You're the
Don't
ones that
tell
want to
me,
change the status
don't
quo.
talk to me about wages when you haven't made a
I
proposal.
did make, I said, whatever the county has budgeted, we'll do, for
Okay,
wages.
that's your
which is-
proposal.
Isn't that what I said before?
That's it, okay, I understand.
So where's your proposal? Obviously you don't like what we're proposing. What are you proposing? I mean, I understood coming into this that you had an issue with the overtime. Right?
Wow.
You had the issue with the
Let's move on
overtime,
to the
and you
next
had an
issue.
issue with respect to wages. You said that the first time, that those are the two most important issues that you had,
Rules and regulations.
were those two things. Tell us what you want on wages. It's third bargaining session, you haven't discussed wages yet.
What do you mean it's their bargaining session?
I said third bargaining session. This is our third bargaining session, right?
Okay. I look forward to sharing this next proposal with you. Because your client apparently needs a basic class in the obligations that they have vis-a-vis unilateral changes. And I'm sure you have schooled them in terms of the obligation the county has when it proposes to change existing written documents that implicate terms and conditions of employment.
Right, and I think we've been setting the bar.
And changes to matters that exist outside the contract that are not in writing. So we are proposing that as a pedagogical device, we put it in the contract.
How come you're not using the deputies? You like the deputies so much, how come you're not
Well,
calling the deputies?
apparently the deputies don't have the same problem that we have, an anticipated problem. So we are proposing that you, and I'm not gonna go through this line by line, though I would be happy to underscore your obligation when you are generating rules and regulations or anything that implicates terms and conditions of employment.
I thought we've been pretty good about sending stuff over.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Recently, it's gotten better, but I went a long period of
Right,
time.
but you addressed it at the bargaining table.
Correct.
And I made an amendment to you and said, we'll get you the stuff, and we've been getting you the stuff, and, you raised an issue with respect to the social media policy. I flipped over a revision of social media policy. Look, I understand why you're proposing this, but, to turn around and say, well, we gotta do this because you all are out there violating the law left and right, I don't think.
I didn't
that's
say
fair
you're violating the law. I didn't say you're
That was
violating the
kind of the implication there, that we need this as protection because you all are out there
We do.
acting as cowboys on this, and you raised an issue, brought an issue to my attention, and we addressed it.
I don't need to, I shouldn't have to bring issues to your attention.
Sure you
Your
do.
client needs to learn the basics. The basics, that's all. And if this is in the contract, they can read it and go, scratch their chins and go, oh, really? Good. Now I know what I have to do. Individual rights. This one is a lot simpler. It's just one page. I'm so sorry. We only gave you 5 copies. So, the last sentence in new paragraph 3 provides that the union will determine whether a grievance to go to arbitration.
Yeah.
Seniority? Should be 2 pages, 3 pages.
And Rich, I assume that on the individual rights on the board, the caveat is the except as otherwise required by law. The culvert.
You're reckon?
Yeah.
What's the name of that case again? I'll run and look it up.
Yeah. You've probably never heard of it, right? So now I get to school you, right?
You get to school me many times, but not on that issue. There you go. Sorry, it's 2 pages, it's a real pain. Let me just ask you if you have discussed the concept of seniority, or if the county uses seniority now for any purpose. I mean, corrections.
I don't know. I know we don't have it in our.
That's the question, yeah, that's the question.
I don't know.
Yes, seniority is used in a couple of different ways. One is for leave,
Yes,
leave selection.
gotcha.
There may be 1 or 2 more on
Okay.
that.
Good, so this shouldn't be that dramatic for you. All right, the next one is,
Here we go.
oh,
Look at this.
forgive me,
Yeah,
go,
let's
take
look at
your
this.
time, take your time. Again, to make, so you have a baseline, you use the deputy's contract.
Except that you kind of changed those concepts of.
Oh, no doubt about it.
That they had classification versus office seniority. What I'm trying to figure out, and this comes up a lot, is so we have 2 different things. We have seniority and classification seniority. But I'm looking, we define class. Is
It's
it
in layout.
classification? Okay, yeah, I'm trying.
That's the only place.
So layouts would be by classification, everything else would be by county service.
Correct.
So, Mark, when we're doing the seniority for purposes of leave selection, is it currently within the classification or is it county service?
Time in, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but it's the time that they've been with the division.
So,
We base it on time in the corrections.
No, I understand that, but the thing is I'm just trying to wrap my head around it. So if you have if you have an employee that kind of has like a rapid rise, been here for 5 years and is a sergeant, well, I'm just wondering, I mean, no, I'm talking about for.
It goes by shift. There are 4 shifts, and the sergeants are in with us. So if I have more time, I'm just an officer, I have more time than a sergeant.
You get to,
I get my vacation before he does.
okay. Yeah, I'm not used to that, I'm used to doing it by, you know,
Right.
right, because part of the, you know, the benefit of rank, you know,
Yeah,
part of the
everyone
reward
else.
for promotion.
Lieutenants,
Right.
captains, and above are separate.
Right, no, I understand that you're doing it kind of almost like supervisors versus non-supervisors from that standpoint, but I'm used to, you know, because.
Me too.
Right, because it is a promotion from corrections officer to sergeant, right? You know, so usually, you know, one of the benefits of promoting, you know, is also that you know, the higher rank gets to select first, but if you do it the other way. Just asking you.
It's
from the
unusual.
standpoint of- Yeah.
It's unusual, and I had to be
Yeah.
informed.
How long has that practice been in
Ever
place?
since I've been there.
Ever since I've been in
How long have you been here?
24 and a half years.
You knew it was gonna be a big number. Disciplinary.
Way too long. A lot of gray hairs. No, it's been a good ride.
Here's 5 copies.
Yes. Yes, I think so.
In paragraph 1, I just refer to discipline generically as opposed to,
Is there, I mean, I think there's a typo. Any-
yes, the word the.
To cross out the, and make the T on the notification small t.
Thank you. But for paragraphs 4 and 5 are the key elements here. 4 is progressive, discipline will be progressive, and for just cause, so there's 2 pieces there. And obviously, I mean, we're not trying to say that if somebody engages in something that's particularly egregious, gets a verbal reprimand because it's progressive. Obviously, there's a jurisprudence around the meaning of progressive. But we are inserting the substantive limitation on the decision for discipline of just cause, which of course is in 99% of collective bargaining agreements in the state of Florida. In fact, I would ask you, Jeff, you negotiate many collective bargaining agreements. What percentage of agreements would you say have the phrase just cause in it?
I don't know, but it's not a deputy's contract. And you love the deputy's contract? No, I mean, your point's well taken, I get it.
And
But let me ask you about this, because this is, you know.
For sure.
Look, it doesn't surprise me, number 4, but number 5, I haven't seen that before.
here, the purpose of that is, and this is me, so I'm gonna say this is me, it didn't come from me, it was something I suggested. And that is when you have complaints against an officer, we want those complaints to be in writing as opposed to, when I was in the jail, blah, blah, blah happened to me. And the second piece, in that instance, we want that person to come down and submit a written complaint. We don't want you running after a complaint that came in through the telephone and wasn't followed up by somebody showing seriousness or legitimacy to it, or arguable legitimacy.
That will conflict with Prison Rape Elimination Act, 2003.
Oh, I don't have any problem with you doing whatever you need to do. under some sort of statute to the extent it requires something that's inconsistent, obviously. But at the same time, there is no prohibition against a complaint being in writing, to my knowledge.
According to the Prison Rape Elimination Act, anybody can call in. It doesn't have to be the individual. It can be anybody with knowledge. They can call it in. They can write us an anonymous letter, and we're obligated by law to follow up and investigate.
Absolutely. I want in, like, assuming that's what it says. I want those complaints to be in writing to the extent they can be in writing.
Sexual harassment, we can't make somebody write it down.
Are you talking about one employee and another employee?
Either way. Law says somebody makes a sexual harassment complaint, we are obligated to look into it.
I guess the 50 collective bargaining agreements that I have with this language in it must be illegal. Tom, I just feel blessed to have this knowledge from you. Our
But
proposal,
You know better than that.
We're really advancing the discussion.
no, but that kind of a response is silly
But it's
because.
not, but yours is silly, you can put that in there.
No. Really?
Really, because that's what I want to say, really?
No.
You said it to me?
Is this, your response is our proposal is silly? Is that your response?
I can say that.
Okay, well, the next part of our proposal is you will not solicit complaints.
So what does that actually mean? So somebody comes up and says that they have a concern, if we would say, put it in writing, is that soliciting?
No, that's not soliciting.
Okay.
Hearing a story, going to their house and saying, hey, if you want to file a complaint, here's the form. That's soliciting a complaint. If you want to add more detail to it,
Have we had somebody
feel
do
free.
that? Have we had somebody do that?
I have had employers do that. I prefaced the discussion about 5 by saying, this is my recommendation to my client, because each and every one of these things has happened to public employees that I have represented. Law enforcement
If we
officers.
want to write everything that's happened to all of us, we'll have a book about this big, so I can name a bunch too.
It sounds like the policy manual you guys are in the process of developing. And we'll have to develop with the accreditation, which we look forward to bargaining with you about. So seriously, we don't want complaints being solicited. That's all. And that's our proposal on disciplinary action. But, well, let me get back to just cause. I'm suspecting that you guys have talked about the notion of just cause being a part of this contract, or maybe not. Have you?
Have we discussed just
Have you discussed, have you taken a position, or are you in a position to take a position?
We haven't formally taken a position.
Okay,
So
so,
I would be speaking out of turn.
Tom, do you have a problem with just cause?
Pardon?
Does your,
Well,
We're gonna look at the whole contract, we're gonna look at the whole thing before we.
sure, in a perfect world, we would rather not have just cause, we'd rather not have discipline go to arbitration. I mean, are you asking me what our preference would be? Sure.
do the firefighters have just cause in their contract? I don't know the answer to that.
I don't recall. I don't recall. I don't know.
Can you give me a copy of their contract? Thank you. The next thing is insurance.
I think I'll give you a copy of all our contracts if you like, because there's a lot that don't have any of that in. Would you like some of those?
You can send me whatever you like.
I'll send you the one we like to model after. How about that?
What's that?
I'll send you a couple of them.
Feel free, what are they?
We have our I.U.P.A contract, we have a beach contract. Yeah, we got those. We'll be glad to model after.
Feel free to send them to me. I'm sure I can find some language in those contracts that we would love to see in our contract. this is 2 pages. Just one more. I have this nice red one of The Office, heavy red one. What movie is that that has the red staple in it? Office. Office. All right. Now this has,
So what's different from the one you gave us last time?
the time, this is our current language, our current proposal, newest proposal. At the time the contract is ratified, in paragraph 1, it removes the, parity language. And in paragraph 3, there's an issue with utilization of disability where employees are required to use personal leave. Is that correct, Matt?
Yes.
For what?
Before they can use their disability leave. We'd like to see that go away. And the way,
That may be part of the plan. That may be part of the plan that we purchased.
well, you find out for me and
And
you
that's,
tell
by
me.
the way, that's something that the county provides for free. No, not short term, we do the long term.
Right,
The long term, sorry. And I believe that's part of the plan, but I'll get back to you.
please. And our last proposal today is dues deduction. And you know what's in there. It's just one page.
Terry scan, then you can go ahead and.
And we struck 2 sentences which are self-evident. And there's been some concern raised by the bargaining team about paperwork issues. Problems we've had in the past, and so.
Like what?
Mistakes being made in the processing of paperwork.
What people?
Paperwork that the county is charged with dealing with.
Well, names a problem.
I don't need to name the problem.
Well, then how can
We are
how can we
concerned,
address it?
Then we can't address
if you
it.
don't have a problem, agree to the language.
No, well,
Sign it right now. Sign it right now.
Here's my statement, I know of no problem, so I don't think that's true.
If you know of no problem, then you don't give a damn about this language.
Why did why was I okay with this language for the?
Because we've learned about the difficulty the county has had
What's the
with
difference?
basic, simple paperwork
Well,
issues.
tell me what that is.
I mean, you might convince us that.
We tell you that this is what
But
it
you
is
can't
with
give an
this
example.
proposal.
You can't give an example?
I can give an
Yeah,
example.
give me an example.
Let me give an example.
Sure.
In
February of 2017, I wrote up the 86-hour problem when Mr. Flowers came around and asked staff what was going on. And I brought that up to y'all's attention back when we had our compression meeting. And if you would have fixed some things back then, we wouldn't be sitting here now. So I wrote up a 401, which is what I'm required to do, and it was filed by our warden. According to him, he never saw it. So that's a problem.
That's not, nothing in a payroll issue whatsoever.
Now we're sideways into the payroll issue.
Well, this is a payroll issue.
That is a payroll
Okay,
issue.
okay,
Yeah,
I'll give you an
payroll issue.
example. I got audited from, years ago, from a payroll problem when, I don't know if you were here or not, because of the way that they did our taxes. There was quite a few of us that got audited because of a payroll mistake. I got audited by the IRS because of a big problem that the payroll division did.
That was back under Mike Larry, wasn't it?
I don't know who it was under, but either
If
way,
you are confident,
it's
excuse
a
it.
problem.
If you are confident that you are handling payroll properly, you should have no problem with this language.
You know, Rich,
There you go.
I guarantee you, and I'm not gonna argue with you, because you're just being facetious, I know you from way back, because you wouldn't agree to that in your law firm. I know you.
Let me suggest
That's what
to you,
unions always do, they don't give their business agents and their stuff contracts, but they'll go out and negotiate.
let me give you
So it's
the
a-
better
It's
argument.
a dual standard.
No, let me give you the better argument. I asked about just cause, you recall that?
Okay.
Why don't you ask me how many contracts you have seen that have the language that we have proposed to strike?
All of the I.U.P.A contracts I've negotiated.
How about
No,
90, how about
the same language
90%?
every Norwich City. Yeah. Yeah. This is
That's-
our
I think that's
standard
better
I.U.P.A
argument.
language.
You're talking a 16-man agency as compared to 300.
Wait, forgot about the deputy.
I think we had those in Gainesville, too.
We did and still do.
Huh?
We,
Yeah,
in
so I've
terms
seen them, that's what I'm, like I said, I've seen them, I thought we had them in Gainesville, but I ain't been there so long.
we also had just cause.
And, yeah, you did that there.
Absolutely.
That language there.
You're right. We can agree to the dues deduction language in return for just cause. We can sign it off right now.
So you'll give up just cause if we take out this?
Yes, I guess that's right.
Okay.
We will,
All right, sounds good. We got a deal. Where do we sign?
we will return to the language that deputies have in return for just cause. You
I got
understand
my
that?
proposal in there first.
So you want that, but you won't give up your apparent opposition to just cause.
No, we can
Just cause is not a money matter.
Oh, yes it is.
Why is it? Why is it?
When we have to return somebody to work and pay them back pay, it's a money issue.
Do you have a problem with holding yourself to the standard of just cause?
I do as interpreted by arbitrators that, impose their judgment on how an employer should do business over the employer's judgment.
So you think your clients are perfect?
Never said they were perfect, but.
Well, who judges them?
But they're the personnel board, the courts.
You
they're
do
mechanisms
understand
that
that
are in place right
unions
now.
win in discipline cases, probably 40% of their discipline cases.
Okay. And so that means 60% of the time we're having to spend a lot of money for no reason.
The existence of just cause has a chilling effect on you guys running wild.
Has a chilling effect on us taking proper action against people that need action taken.
If it's proper, it's just. How many times have you agreed to just cause in a contract?
In the past, I have. Back in my younger days, I did. More recently, actually, honestly, more recently I haven't. The contracts that we've negotiated haven't had
I'm
just
just-
provisions.
Really?
Yeah, including the one that you and I negotiated.
Which one is that?
Comcast.
They have just cause in their contract.
No, remember we went to.
Since then, they've negotiated it. They never talked to you about that, did they?
Yeah.
Are you letting the lawyer lead you by the nose?
Wait, we just spent like 20 minutes on an article where you started by saying, this is me, not the guy.
I warned you in advance. I warned you in advance. Who's calling the shot on this? Is it, you guys really you don't want to be held to the standard of just cause?
Wouldn't we have it in the contract in a perfect world?
Is this a proposal that the county has directed you to make at the bargaining table?
Didn't we start this conversation by you asking me whether or not I had an official position on it and said, I have my thoughts on it, but no, we haven't taken a official position on it.
So the county
And so
commission,
I'm asking-
oh, excellent. So you are going to take our proposal back to the county commission?
I always take proposals back,
So
don't I?
when are you planning to take our proposals back to the county commission?
When you give us your wage increases so that we can go back to them and with everything. I'm not gonna go to, I don't have the ability to go to them after every bargaining session with 2 articles.
Do you have any problem with us going to the county commissioners individually and sharing our proposals with them?
I have no problem with you doing whatever you're allowed to
Excellent.
do under the law.
Well, do you think we're entitled to do that under the law?
Do I believe that you're allowed to show them what you propose as opposed to
Yes.
bargaining with them?
Yes.
Yes, I believe you did.
We appreciate it.
You didn't know that you had that right there? You just wanted to hear me say that?
I suspect they don't know they have that right. All right. So there are quite a number of non-economic proposals that we've made here today. Are you in a position to respond to any of our proposals?
Might be able to respond to some of them. I think we're probably pretty close on which 1 or 2, like with Iowa or with
Well, let's get some things off the table.
Sure, we can take that. Let's go ahead and take a call.